What's up, everybody? Welcome in Seth Floyd Show. I'm your host, Seth Floyd Hansen. I got my fanny pack hat on today. I'm rocking the new flag, as you probably saw. Thank you, Shaq Nums. That was a Christmas gift from Shaq Nums, who watches the channel. Good buddy of mine, Donnie, but he'll always be Shaq Nums to me. And Christmas gift, Seth Floyd flag. So we're rocking and rolling, man. I feel good. I feel loved. I feel appreciated. And it's a good night to talk some football. Good night to talk some football and talk some 49ers playoffs odds. What would it look like? 49ers Rams on Thursday. And man, it's going to be a good one. The good thing about this hat, guys, is not only does it look really cool, is it is super, oh man, useful, okay? I'm not about wasting space. I'm about efficiency, and I got to free up the pockets in my pants for, you know, car keys and cell phones and kid snacks. And so why not throw a pocket in the hat? Oh my gosh. Perfect. That ain't gonna stop me. Show must go on. Here we go. Guys, the 49ers playoff odds are not good. I think they're at, last I saw, I think I've seen a couple. One says 3% chance, one said 6% chance. But I'll tell you this, 49er fans, if you dare to hope, if you dare to dream, okay, if the 49ers can win their last 4 games, okay, they got to win out, and that will put them at 10-7. It does say that their odds will jump to, 59%, which means it's still out of their control. They don't control their own destiny. They need some help. So I'm going to give you the different playoff scenarios, the different rundowns of how they could make the playoffs, and then we'll talk real quick about 49ers Rams on Thursday Night Football. I'm recording this on Tuesday. They get the Rams on Thursday, which I think helps them, okay? But we'll get this rocking and rolling. That clearest path for them to make the playoffs, which is contrary to popular belief, at least popular belief of 5 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I think them getting the wild card, I can't stop coughing, them getting the wild card is the most, I don't even want to say likely, but out of the scenarios, that's the one I can see happening, okay? Here's what they need to make the wild card. Okay, here's the easiest way to make the wild card without a complete collapse of certain teams. 49ers, everything starts with them winning out, okay, with the wild card. They have got to finish 10-7. That 7th place team right now in that wild card spot is Washington, who is currently 8-5. So you do the math. There's 4 games left. They have 2 better. They're 2 better in the loss column and in the win column. So you need Washington to go 2-2 down the stretch. I almost said 2-4. Oh, Josh, sorry, man. I'm coughing in while you're editing and everything. They got to go 2-2. Their final schedule, their final remaining games, okay? It's not the best, but it's not the worst. They get the Saints this week, and the Commanders are coming off a bye, okay? So it doesn't feel like they're going to drop this one to the Saints. Also, Derek Carr, it sounds like is going to be out. There was rumors he was done for the year, and then he wasn't done for the year, but it doesn't sound like he's going to play this week. Which I honestly, like, maybe Spencer Rattler again gives them another spark. Because what was Derek Carr? They beat the Giants 14-11 with Derek Carr in there. So whatever. Maybe you get Spencer Rattler in there, and he just starts slinging that thing and airing it out, and maybe they win. I don't know. Possible. What I do know is Washington is not great. What I do know is Washington's like most impressive win on the year right now is the Arizona Cardinals back in week 4 or 5 or whatever when Arizona looked good, and now look at Arizona. So that's their most impressive win. Okay, they lost to the Cowboys 2 weeks ago. Okay, Cowboys with Cooper Rush. They lost to them at home. So what I know is you can't The Washington team from like week 6, week 7 that we thought like we're propping them up like crazy, that is not who they are. Okay, they are they're 7th seed wild card team at best. That's what they are. And I don't know about you, but those teams don't win out. They don't win 4 games in a row normally. Okay, so they could lose any of these games that we're talking about, starting with the Saints. I would put my money on Washington because Washington's coming off a bye, but Washington's not good enough to just chalk them up as W's. They're not, especially with Cliff Kingsbury as their offensive coordinator. Look at his track record in his career. The second half of every season, he blows. He sucks. Okay, offensively, they struggle. Now, they hung 42 on the Titans. Congrats. Can they do it again against a team that's coached well at all? We'll see. That might not be New Orleans, but we'll see. Okay, so they get New Orleans. Then they play Philly. Okay, we're going to chalk that up as a loss. As a 49er fan, like, it has to be a loss. If they beat Philly, like, you're really in trouble. Okay, because we're counting on them to lose to Philly and hopefully drop another one. Okay, after Philly, this is the other one that feels like they could lose, though this team has really been disappointing, and that is Atlanta. Okay, Atlanta has lost 4 in a row. I don't know what's going on with Kirk. I don't know what's going on with Raheem Morris. Okay, it does not look good. It doesn't look good, but they're still in a playoff division fight, and you're going to get a desperation game from them. Hopefully that game is against Washington. Hopefully they figure something out. I don't know who Atlanta has this week. Hopefully they figure something out and can kind of right the ship a little bit so that when they play Washington, they could beat Washington. So right there, they should lose to Philly. They could lose to Atlanta. That feels like a toss-up to me. Both of those teams are like equal in my eyes. Atlanta, Washington, they're like equal in terms of skill and how I would rate them. Okay. And then they get the Cowboys. They go to Dallas week 18. Now, Dallas beat them in Washington before. Dallas isn't going to have anything to play for, but it's a division game. And if Dallas knows going into that game, oh shoot, if we beat Washington, we knock them out of the playoffs, like, they're going to play hard. Everyone play, like, I know certain guys will check out. I know that happens, but most of these guys are fighting for their jobs. They know they've got to play hard. Football is not an easy game to play at 75% because that's how you get hurt. Like, guys are going to play hard. Last game of the year. And with a chance to knock them out of the playoffs, like, they're going to play hard. Division game. So anyway, they should lose to Philly. Can they lose to New Orleans, Atlanta, or Dallas one more time? I think they can, because I don't think Washington is that great. But we'll see. We'll see what happens, okay? It's crazy because the 49ers, if you do the ESPN playoff machine, this is where I kind of ran through all these scenarios. Do the playoff machine. If Washington's 10-7, 49ers are 10-7, 49ers have the tiebreaker. I don't know why. Some NFC record, I don't know. But when it's all said and done, they have the tiebreaker there. The other teams that could potentially ruin that for you or could also sneak into that spot, you have a tiebreaker. You have a tiebreaker over Atlanta. For some reason, not sure why, okay, but you do. You have the tiebreaker over Tampa Bay. If they drop to 10-7, and they kind of could be in that spot because you beat them. And for some reason, I don't know why the NFL does this. When you do multiple teams are tied, they revert to different, like, tie-breaking scenarios. Not sure why. But if Seattle is 10-7 and you're 10-7 and Washington's 10-7 and it ends up like that, for some reason the 49ers have the tiebreaker and will get in that spot. So I say all that to say this. If the 49ers finish 10-7, like, I feel fairly good about those odds of getting into the playoffs because I don't trust Washington. I feel better about Washington losing 2 games than I feel about the Niners winning their last 4. But crazier things have happened. So that's the most likely way you get into the playoffs in my eyes. Okay. What's another way? Well, you could win the division, but to win the division, this is what you need to happen. Okay. Seattle's got to lose 3 of 4. Well, yes, Seattle's got to lose 3 of 4. They got to finish the year 9-8. Okay. Now, can that happen? Yes. Is it likely to happen? Probably not. But I think it's kind of a toss-up. Like, I would not be shocked at all. They get Green Bay this week, then they get Minnesota, then they go to Chicago, and then they go to the Rams. Okay. I would assume they're underdogs in 3 out of those 4 games. And playing in Chicago I know Chicago's a wreck. I know Chicago doesn't look good. 49ers proved that. However, I know going to Chicago in early January, late December, whenever that game is, late December, last week of December, is not going to be easy, and anything can happen. Okay, so they could go 9-8, they could lose 3 or 4. Wouldn't shock me. Okay, they're more likely going to go like 2-2 and finish 10-7, but it's possible. The Rams, okay, they've got to get to 9-8. They would have to get to 9-8. And that starts with, you need the Rams to obviously lose this Thursday to the 49ers. Okay. You need them to lose to the Jets okay, who they play after the 49ers, and then you need them to lose to the Cardinals, okay, which they've already done. They got blown out by the Cardinals, but it feels like that was a much different team. Both teams were very different back then. And then they have to beat Seattle in that final Week 18 game. That would put them at 9-8. If you win out and those scenarios happen, then you will win the division, assuming the Cardinals fall off, which they look like they have. You would win the division in that scenario. The funniest scenario is that if all 4 NFC West teams finish 9-8, guess what? 49ers own that tiebreaker for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know how that makes any difference. But they will win the division. If the 49ers, Seahawks, and Rams all finish at 9-8, but Arizona finishes at 8-9, it goes to the Rams or something. I don't know why the 4th team tiebreaker makes a difference, but it does. So you either got to go 10-7 or you need everybody to finish at 9-8. That would mean the Cardinals, who have the same record as the 49ers right now, you need them to win their next 3. So their next 3, they go, I had it earlier. I think they play the Patriots this week. Yeah, they play Patriots, then Carolina, and then the Rams, and then the 49ers. So you need them to win their next 3. I think that's right. You need them to beat the Patriots, beat Carolina, beat the Rams, and then lose to the Niners Week 18. And that would give the Niners some wiggle room, like, hey, you feel like you're going to lose that Lions game? Fine. If everyone finishes 9-8, you're in. Okay. I think that's hilarious. Clearly, that's the most outrageous scenario, the least likely of any of them, in my opinion. But so if you are going to get in, to me, it's got to be the wild card. Because you could win out, go 10-7. Washington could just lose to Philly, and then you're like, crap, we got to win the division. Well, let's say Seattle loses 3 or 4. Great, but then the Rams only lose to you, and the Rams finish 10-7, but they are going to have the tiebreaker because they will have a better division record than you because you choked away 3 division games, okay? You really need them to lose to the Cardinals as well. If they lose to the Cardinals as well, that would put them at 9-8, and they would have a tied division record, something like that. Anyway, those are the scenarios. So I don't care what anyone tells you. The Haberman podcast, he's like my favorite dude ever, but he's like completely dismissing the idea that Washington can lose 2 games, and that's outrageous to me. Washington, who should have lost to the Bears, got lucky on a Hailmary. Washington, who lost to the Cowboys at home to Cooper Rush. Washington, who hasn't beaten anybody this year. They've beaten the Giants twice. Whatever. I can't remember everybody. I just know it hasn't been very impressive. So that's what you're rooting for, 49ers fans. That's what you're rooting for. So let's talk about Thursday night. 49ers, Rams in Santa Clara. 49ers are 2-point favorites, 2.5-point favorites. It's moved. I've seen it at both. You're between 2 and 3-point favorites, or 2 and 2.5-point favorites. And here's what I'll say. The Rams offense is good as anybody's. I think DVOA has them at 7. But their defense is pretty low. Their offense at 7, but they feel better than 7. It feels like they had a lot of injuries, and now everyone's healthy, and now they're rolling, as you saw against the Bills. Their defense was down to 22. Okay, DVOA, if you care about DVOA. 49ers, if I remember right, I didn't write it down, but 6 on offense, 8 on defense, but like 500th on special teams, so it kind of evens it all out. It's probably why they're in the situation that they're in. But there's a couple things to give 49er fans hope. Okay? 1, short week on the road, or short Thursday night games always favor the home team. Short week on the road is a tough one for the road team. Okay? Because you have such a short condensed week, and you have to travel. I know it's not a long flight, but you still have to travel. It still messes up whatever your routine would be. 49ers have a ton of momentum. Excuse me, I'm going to stop myself. I shouldn't say a ton of momentum, but they looked as good as they've ever looked. It's the best they looked all year was on Sunday. So I think it helps not only that the Rams have to travel on a short week, but I think them playing on Thursday is good because it's just like a quick turnaround. Let's just keep rolling what we just did 4 days ago, and that gives me some hope. On a team that needed to play well, they played well. They want to hold on to that feeling, like that momentum, momentum is real, you would think would carry over into Thursday night, hopefully. Couple Kyle Shanahan has historically owned Sean McVay in the regular season, has played him well, even when we were dog crap in 2018 and in 2020. Like, we stole games from the Rams in those seasons, and he just has a way of figuring out those games. At least he has, until we blew it earlier this year. So all of that like gives you hope as a 49ers fan. I don't know what the injury status is on a lot of these guys. They're going to be game time decisions. It feels like Trent Williams, Nick Bosa, and Isaac Guerrero. Those are the three. All feel like game time decisions. None of them have practiced this week. I imagine all of them just kind of come down to that game time decision, including Guerrero, which Guerrero keeps telling everyone he's fine, he feels great. It was just an over precaution. That would be huge for the Niners. It's going to be a huge blow to them if Patrick Taylor has to start. And you're probably going to get a ton of carries out of Deebo Samuel, which we have all that drama with Deebo. But hey, maybe you'll get the revenge game from Deebo, the shut everybody up game from Deebo, and he takes 20 carries as a running back and goes for 150 yards. Like, I'm here for it. Okay, playing with a chip on his shoulder. So it just, the injury bug has killed us all year. I know it hurts everybody, but I mean, it's certainly hurting us. Last year didn't hurt us. That's the truth. Last year, part of the reason we played so well all year, didn't really have any injuries except for that 3-game slide. The rest of the year we were good. This year that's not been the case, and we are. You know, I'll say this: I hate when people are like, "Well, everyone's injured." Da, 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 da. Guys, everyone gets injured. You're right. It's usually not your best offensive player and your best defensive player. And you've got like Fred Warner playing on a broken ankle. Like, usually you get like, oh, we had a guard go down, or oh, our second linebacker went down, or oh, maybe our starting corner, our best corner, was out for a game. But no, you've had Trent Williams has missed the last 2 games. You've had Nick Bosa miss the last 3 games. You've had Brock Purdy miss a game. Your best defensive tackle, Javon Hargrave, out for the year. Like, it's different, but whatever. I'm not making excuses, because even if those guys were around, you probably were maybe sneaking into the wild card anyway. I'm just saying, it's been the season from hell, and we'll see what happens with all of that. Guys, I wish I had more optimism. I thought of all the reasons I could of why it would go our way. And the last thing would be, are they still in desperation mode? I know there was the clip, the soundbite of Gross Matos coming off the field after they won, and they said, that's playoff win number 1. Clearly they know the situation. They know they're in playoff mode. They know that they've got to win out, and a loss would be devastating. So maybe you get that. If you win on Thursday night, I think that's the reason. You're still in that desperation mode, and you found it deep down, and you were able to come out swinging and get the most of them, a Rams team on a short week. Okay, that's what I'm hoping for. My prediction, okay, I think this is going to be the nail in the coffin for the 49ers. I think that it's just going to be too much. Their offense is rolling. They were hurt earlier in the year, but they're healthy now. They've got everyone back, and you can see it, like on the offensive line is much better than it was. Obviously, Puka looks like the second coming of Jerry Rice. Cooper Kupp is still such a weapon. Like, they're playing well, okay? Matt Stafford's playing well. And so it just doesn't feel like the 49ers' time. And if they lose this game, guys, it is curtains. It is finito, okay? Even in that 9-8 scenario, I said that you can all finish 9-8 and you would get in, but not if you lose another division game. I should have led with that. You can lose to the Lions or the Dolphins in 2 weeks or a week and a half, but you can't lose to the Rams or the Cardinals. That would push the tiebreaker out for you, and you'd be done. So you got to win. You got to win. What kind of 49er team shows up is going to be the desperation team. I don't think it will. My official prediction is going to be 27-24 Rams. I think the 49ers play well. I don't think it'll be a blowout, and I think they'll play pretty clean, for them, as clean as you can on Thursday night. I don't think Trent Williams or Nick Bosa are going to play. I think you can tell Fred Warner has a fracture in his ankle, and he's trying to gut it out because he's a warrior, and I love that about him. You might get Dre Greenlaw back this week. Even if he's back, it's probably on a pitch count, but that would be a huge lift. You know, Talanoa Hufanga back has been great, but I think it's just going to be too much for the Niners to overcome. And if they do lose, I bet you see, like, okay, if they lose, I bet Fred goes on IR. I bet Trent and Nick Bosa just shut it down for the year, and they just play a bunch of young guys and just kind of play their best, try to win games. I don't think they'll try to lose games, but I think that they'll just call it for the year and focus on 2025. And that's my prediction. I hope I'm wrong. Big 49er fan, okay? But I just, it's hard to see, man. It's hard to see. That's what I got for you. Thank you for tuning in. Shaq Nums, the flag looks great. Let me know what you guys think. That's pretty awesome. Got it done. The Seth Floyd Show, as cool as it gets. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment, let me know what you think's going to happen. And hoping for the best, 49ers. Let's get this dub.